Hi everyone, this is Lauret. In this video, we are going to be getting started with RecyclerView. RecyclerView is a better alternative to ListView. It contains inbuilt classes and APIs that makes it easier to create a list of data. It contains a view holder. It contains an inbuilt view holder, so that helps in easily recreating an item layout. It also contains layouts manager, which it makes it more flexible to create different types of layouts other than just the vertical layout. You can create the horizontal layout, you can create the grid layout, you can create the staggered grid layout. So let's just get into the coding. Here we have just created a new project with an empty activity. So first off, we are going to be creating our data class, which we definitely need to be able to populate our list of items. And in this video, we're going to be building a contact list where you can add a phone number with the name of your contact. So first, we create a data class. We name it contact. We're needing a name, string, and number, string. So next, we are going to be creating an item layout for our recycler adapter. Let's call it contact list item. In the item layout, we are going to be having two text view. We're going to be constraining top to top of parent. Another constraint for start to start of parent. A margin top of 16 dp. So let's give it a temporary test to see how it aligns. So let's say contact name. Let's give it a size of 18 sp. And the padding starts of margin starts of 16 dp. A text style of bold. Then next we'll be creating a second. Okay, let's give it an ID. Name text view. Let's be creating a second text view. Let's give it a number text view, top to bottom of name text view, start to start of name text view. Let's give it a text of a default text. Okay, let's remove this. We won't be needing this either since it's constrained to the start of name. And if we make this margin 8 dp, and yes, I think okay, let's give this a wrap content so we can all items can easily display. I think we are done with our item layout for now. So next we go over to create our recycler adapter. So let's call this a contact adapter. So to create a recycler adapter, you have to extend a RecyclerView adapter, which accepts a view holder, which accepts a recycler view holder. But before that, let's create our recycler view holder. Let's call it a contact view holder. Extending a recycler view holder. So here, so now we can add our contact view holder and add the constructor invocation. You have to implement all methods that it came with. So I always prefer using view binding. So let's add our view binding feature to the Gradle. Sync now. So now let's add our item. Let's add our item layout to the RecyclerView adapter. And in RecyclerView adapter, you add in the view binding dot root as the view. The RecyclerView adapter is expecting the RecyclerView.view holder expects a view, which is the binding dot root. So in the contact view, in the view holder is where we bind our item layout. Is where we bind the items that's going to be part that's going to display content as a list. So let's create a method. I'll call it from bind contacts, or we can call it from bind item. Here we are binding the contacts as a data. So we can say binding dot name tv dot test. Here we are trying to set our contact dot name to the name test view. Then we set our number test view, our number to the number test view. So next, let's add our view holder to the onCreate view holder. So here we are going to be returning a view holder. Return contacts view holder. Layout inflator dot from parents dot context. Parents false. So next we are going to be binding the items to the unbind view holder. Var contact equals okay. First off, let's create our list here. Private contacts equals private var contacts equals mutable list of contacts. So we are going to be creating a method that we use in setting up the list in the main activity. Create phone setup contacts. Okay, list of contacts. So here we can say contact dot add all contacts. So here we can say this dot contact, just to specify that this particular contact is a member variable, is a class variable, and why this contact is the one for the method. Okay, so next we are going to be binding the list for each item. So here we call contacts and then call position. So we are binding each item to the combined view holder with its position in the list. So then we call our holder dot bind method, bind item, which we created in the view holder here, and we can call our contact. Since we have contact as a parameter here, I think I prefer having my view holder below, so I'll just move that here. Okay. Next, what else? Okay, here next we return the item count. Return contact dot size. We return the size of the list here. So up next, I think the next thing is to set up the adapter with the recycler view in the main activity. So first thing we need to do is to create our binding. Binding equals to main binding dot inflate. Layout inflator. Then we can set up binding dot root. Okay. So next is set up our recycler view. Set up data. So I think it's safer. Okay, first let's call in our binding. So I think it's safer we just call this now so we don't forget it. So next thing is to bind our adapter to the recycler view. Okay, we haven't created the layout for our main activity. So right here, we change this to recycler view. You can make these match parents and make these match parents. You can okay. So next we can add the layout manager of linear layout. We can add a list item just to preview it, just to be able to preview our items. Okay, just our sample item. Then in the main activity, we set up okay, we give this an ID contacts RV. Then in the main activity, binding dot contact RecyclerView equals dot adapter, sorry. Okay. Obviously here we need to create our adapter first. Equals contact adapter. Here we set we set this contact adapter to the recycler view. And okay, I think we should just leave this here. Okay, let's see. Okay, next, so next we need to be able to add items to recycler view. So for that purpose, we are going to be creating a little, we are going to be creating an alert dialog, a simple alert dialog to enable us add a contact to our recycler view. So let's create an item layout for the alert dialog. Add contacts dialog. So here I already have a layout ready. I'll just paste that here. So here we have a text view just to show the title of our option, our alert dialog. We have an add contact text view. We have a material design input layout where you add a name, you add a hint, a name hint. Here we have a material design input text that will also where we have a phone number hint, a maximum length of 11. We don't want our phone number to be more than 11. An input type phone so that it just brings up only input field to enter phone number. And here an input type text because I'm going to be adding a name of the contact. Then we have our material button. We are going to disable it until our phone number is up to 11 to make sure that the user doesn't enter either a number that is less than 11 or is empty. Okay. Okay. So in our main activity, we are going to be creating an alert dialog. So first, we are going to be creating our dialog builder. Equals to alert dialog dot builder. Next, we create our layout inflator. The inflator equals this dot layout inflator. Then next, we create our view, which is to inflate our layout. Inflator dot inflate r dot layout dot add content dialog passing a null. Then here we add view dot we add builder dot set view. So here we create our alert dialog dot builder. Then we create a layout. Okay, I think we should just do this. We create a layout inflator to add the custom layouts that we created, and then we set the view to the alert dialog dot builder. So up next we start getting each item that is on the layout. So var name is equals view dot find view by id text view arrow dot id dot name edit text var number equals view dot find view by id text view arrow dot id dot number edit text. So next Okay, our button var save button equals view dot find view by id. Test view r dot id dot save button. So next we are going to be showing our dialog by calling so next we are going to be creating our dialog by calling alert dialog dot create builder dot create. So, but to show this our dialog, we need a button on the main layout. So we are going to be using a floating action button. We're going to be wrapping content. We're going to be positioning it to the bottom to bottom of parents, end to end of parents. Let's give it a background tint of primary. Let's create a drawable for the button, vector drawable. You can choose the add. Let's tint the add to be, let's use app tint of white, and let's give it a margin. Let's give it a margin of 16 dp. So I think our floating action button is good to go. Okay, then an ID of FAB, which means floating action button. So back to the main activity, we can say binding dot FAB dot set on click listener alert dialog dot show. This displays our alert dialog when a user clicks on it. So up next, we are going to be okay, so let's test what we have done so far. Okay, then let's add our resource. Let's add our Android, our button image. Okay, so now let's test and see the results. Okay, So now we have our contact list. When you click on this button, it brings up our contacts, our dialog button, so we can type in our contact, and then we can add a phone number. Okay, so I think we need to add an action so that when this number is up to 11, our save button enables, and then we can add our contact into our recycler view. So up next, we go into our main activity to complete the alert dialog setup. First thing is to call our number test view and add test change listener to it. A test change listener allows you to monitor changes while you are typing into an edit test. And we can use the test watcher for that. Okay. So right here we implement the members. And we are going to be focusing on the on-test change. So here we are going to check if s.length is equals 11. Save call operator because the car sequence is nullable. If s.length is equals 11, then the save button can be enabled. .set enabled. Equals true. Else save button .set enabled .is enabled equals false. So let's simplify that. Okay, so here we are checking if x.length is equal to false 11, then let's save button. Save button that is enabled depends on whether length is equal to 11 or not. So if it is equal to 11, it becomes true. If it's not, it becomes false. So the save button that is enabled reacts to the changes depending on the length of the character sequence of our number edit test. So next, we are going to be adding our items into the recycler view now. And to do so, we have created our adapter. And we have set our adapter to the recycler view. Next is we create var contact, which is our data model, equals contact name dot test dot to string number dot test dot to string. So here we are getting the text from our name edit test and the text from our number edit test, and we're adding it to our contact model. Then we create a list where contacts is equals contacts dot is equals mutable list of contacts. Then we call our adapter dot set of contacts. So let's ensure, okay, here we need to call notify dataset change so that to notify the adapter that an item has been added to the adapter. So next we are going to call the save button dot set on click listener. Once the save button is clicked, then the adapter adds the list. And then dismiss the dialog. Okay. We need our allow dialog to be visible. Allow dialog dot dismiss. So we want the moment we save our contacts, it dismisses the dialog. Okay. I think we don't have any other thing left. So let's test our contacts list app. So now our contact list app is up. When we click on the add button, we can add a contact with a phone number. Once it's up to 11, the button becomes enabled. When it's less than 11, the button gets disabled. So when we click on done and click on save, our first item gets added. Next, we add the second item. We click on done. When we click on save, our second item gets added. We can keep adding item to the list. As much as we like. So now our RecyclerView is up and running, but I think we need to add to make it look better by adding what we call an item decoration. To add an item decoration, we add it to our RecyclerView over here. You can say binding dot contact RecyclerView dot add item decoration, divider item decoration, this which is our contest, our activity, and then linear layout dot vertical. Let's see how this makes changes to our item. So now let's add a new item. Remember, we are making our in-memory database. So the moment this app relaunches, all data get lost. You can decide to use a kind of data persistence, maybe a room database, a data store, a shared preference, or even an online database like Firebase, like Cloud Firestore or Firebase database. Let's see how the item decoration makes changes to our app. And click on save. A line gets added. We click on save. Another item gets added. Where it keeps adding, you find out that your items keep going, and with a divider to separate one item from another. We have come to the end of this first video.